And then you run, because like the girl that gave me it, she's ran away. The snake that gave it to me, he slithered on down. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Tank Talk. My name is Brandon.
My name's Keith.
Now if you haven't watched our little intro reback video.
We're back now!
The format has changed a little bit in Tank Talks. It's kind of a mixture of our old Tank Talks as well as if you were around for our Tank Media podcast.
Yeah.
I think that's a good example.
I think so. It's very unlikely that they were around for that, so there's a brief explanation from you, Brandon. Tell them what's going on.
So, Tank Talks will feature a little, I guess maybe a little heavier. They're not going to like a drama or like an argument thing, but the topics are kind of shifting, not all of them, but I would say a handful of them to where we'll be a little more serious of a conversation.
Yeah.
So now instead of just a silly little, all right, this thing happened in this area, like, should Winnie the Pooh be our next president?
Right.
Like now it's more of like, oh, well, is that right? Is it wrong that it happened?
Mm-hmm.
So,
and of course, as we do these things, we are back from the summer break. We've explained at length that the reason we took a break over the summer is to reevaluate what we want to do with Tank Media Network. So we need your help with that. If you're watching, we need to know what you like. We need to know what you don't like. And if this conversation is one that you're like, go back to talking about Winnie the Pooh being the president, we'll do that. Just let us know what's going on. So, Brandon, I believe that you have a story for me about something that's happened in your life.
So something happened a couple of days ago. Keith, I'm going to present it to you, present it to the viewers, and the point at the end, we'll kind of dissect it. So
Sure.
I'll get your opinions on it now. Mm-hmm. We'll go back and forth, and as a viewer, feel free to let your opinions be known in the comment section after this. So this has happened a couple of times to me, but most recently happened a couple of days ago. I was at Goodwill looking for some good finds.
Good finds at Goodwill. You always find something.
Good finds, and this is the deal Goodwill. This is where you pay by the pound.
Yeah,
you don't pay by the item. You pay by the pound.
This is essentially just like the Thunderdome Goodwill, where there's big bins and you got to race people to them.
So I had a guy walk up to me, and he just goes, he didn't wipe his nose or do that. That was me.
Oh, okay.
He goes, "Hey, you seem like a good Christian fellow," and handed me a little tract.
And he said, "You seem like a good Christian fellow." What's he look like?
I've wanted to start a conversation with these people, but I was afraid to talk to him because he scared me.
Okay, so that he looked frightening.
He looked kind of like a snake.
He's kind of like a snake of a person. He didn't have any arms or legs. He stood on his spine.
And so, and he gave me this kind of tract, and I forget the people who make the tracts. I think it might be like New Jerusalem Press. If that's not them, they actually might be a very reputable book company.
Okay.
So if they're a different company, I
New
apologize.
Jerusalem Press.
But they're like these little paper tracts. I got like 20 pages, and I read one a while back, and it was where this little girl says something to another little girl, and then the other little girl says something to her mom. Then this giant trial takes place where they're gonna sentence the girl to jail for eternity.
A little girl?
Yeah, a little like 4-year-old girl.
And this is all taking place in the gospel tract that you were
in the tract. This is happening. And then finally the judge says like, "And what were these words you said?" And the girl's like, "I just said Jesus loves you." And then at the end, all the people, like, you see them burning in hell. And the little girl's like, "Guess they should have listened." I don't know if she says that at the end, but I know that everyone is like sent to hell at the end.
Porky Pig, that's all, folks, as the circle closes in.
And so with that one, the girl just said, "Hey, I don't know if you're a Christian, but here," and then just handed it to me and walked away.
Okay.
Same way with this guy, just handed it to me and walked away. So my thoughts after this, and my question to pose is, when you're witnessing, you don't always have a lot of time to talk to people. So we're not here to talk about like long form or whatever.
Yeah.
But just these examples of, like, they don't know if I'm a Christian or not. They've just handed me a piece of paper and said, "Well, there." Then, like, darting away.
Yeah.
Is that right? Is it wrong?
This has happened to me on several occasions as well. It's rare that I receive a Christian tract, and I've received a Mormon one, which will maybe eventually on the channel, if you want to talk about Christianity and Mormonism and whether those things fit together. They don't, but I don't want to alienate anybody right now. Anyway, I've gotten a Mormon one before. I think I've gotten some other ones before, but it's an interesting mindset that I feel like you have. And the mindset, I think the mindset of the person who's handing them out at the very best is, I'm planting a seed. You know, I'm out here, somebody else waters it. That is a biblical, point of view. That someone plants a seed and someone waters and someone else harvests.
And now with both people, I think there was good intentions.
Okay,
like
sure.
It wasn't put a
we're
thumbtack in here. I hope you stab your finger.
We're not here to call anybody stupid, but we're here to make some valuations of tactics among Christian people here today. But I think at the very best, the mindset is I'm planting a seed, and like I said, that is a biblical idea. I forget where in Scripture they talk about it. I think Paul is talking about, we planted the seed and somebody else watered it, and now you're seeing the harvest of that, and that's fine. That makes sense. But there's something about this that goes awry for me, and I think it's the content of the tract. Like, if you would have told me that tract was just full of important scriptures that they thought you should know, and it was scripture only and stuff, that is more of a seed to me. But whenever here's a guilt trip for you, sir, or here's a situation that would never happen in all of human history ever, right? Like this trial of a small child for saying something, and they're trying to sentence her to an eternity in hell, but really actually everyone else is. I think that's part of the issue, is that your content is a little bit foolish, almost really foolish. I don't think that's an effective way to spread any sort of gospel. And also I think, excuse me, at the height of it, your best possible scenario is I'm planting the seed, and I think I'm doing the right thing. The worst, I think, is someone saying, this checks off the box for me. This is all I have to do. I feel good about myself because, I'm evangelizing. I am doing what I need to do. I'm doing what is required of me. When really, I don't think that's an effective tool. I especially don't think in today's day and age when, there's more than a trillion things I could do with my time besides read this little piece of paper you gave me. If you hand me something in a store, I'm a nice guy. I've tried to be a polite dude, but if you hand me a piece of paper in a store, I'll look at the cover of it, and if it doesn't grab me, I'm throwing it in the trash on the way out. So I think into modern days, it's just an ineffective technique, and it's, I think, quite frankly, just kind of lazy, honestly. It's I want to use this gospel tactic tract that, to give it to people who live in, my country where I'm in goodwill, I have the time. I could stop and talk to you, but I'm not going to do that. What do you think, Brandon?
My two takeaways is, I think, number one, with the tract, the content, I'm all for giving a good example of, no, there are rules in Christianity.
Sure.
You do have a God that's not just some, weak guy, or it's just saying, hey, do whatever you want to, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But without the proper context, you've just gotten this whole thing where you're oh wow, this you don't understand, oh well, who is this guy? Kind of like a parent. If you see a parent spanking a child, you don't know that that parent's spanking that child because they're about to go run in front of a car. Or because you don't know all you know is that that's a bad parent because they're spanking their child or they're giving them a stern talking to.
What an exceptional point! I think. Please continue, but I would like to bounce off of that in a moment.
And then my second part is that I think the people are just doing the least amount of work, and I kind of liken it to if someone didn't know how to read, and you knew they didn't know how to read, and you're oh well, I know how to read, and it's made my life so much better. It's helped me with my problems. And you just walked up to them and said, hey, I don't know if you can read or not, but here's a dictionary. And then just left is that person, all they can look at and say, okay, you need time to explain to them. And I understand that, you might not have a lot of time, but, give me the number to your church. Invite me to your church. Because there's plenty of people that I've invited to my church. I don't just sit there and say, while you're cutting my hair, let me tell you why you're going to burn in hell.
Yeah.
I sit there and a couple of months back, we started a conversation. The woman talked about how she went to a couple of churches And she was just like, I didn't really like it. A lot of people in there didn't make me feel welcome. And I was like, well, there's a church down here that I go to, and they're the nicest people ever. And even if you don't want to go to them, like, you can meet up with their pastor, and he'll answer whatever questions or help you find a church that is going to help you.
I think your context, that you really nailed something with the context thing, and I think that's maybe a little piece of what I'm trying to get into the words about the content of this track, is that like the people, that's the movement, right? Where the goal of the church now, for some reason, is to boil down Christianity, boil down the God of the universe into something that you can consume in 20 pages of like this tiny sheets of paper. Like, this is, if Christianity is to be believed, if the Bible is to be believed, the God that you're intending to worship is the God of the universe, who is in the process of revealing himself to us, and that process started thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
It's complex. There are things that go along with it, and I don't think that you're going to get it across in that little tract. And when you hand somebody this thing, just like you said, with no way to ask questions, with no way to actually have a one-on-one conversation, with no way to actually figure out what the heck is going on here, I'm going to read that and I'm going to be like, man, what a jerk this God is. What authority does he have to try to send this little girl to hell? And what authority does he have over the rest of these people? Like, why is he worthy of worship if this is what he's going to do? Like, those kind of questions are completely reasonable. They're absolutely completely reasonable to ask questions of what the heck kind of God do you worship if he does these things, you know? They're completely reasonable to ask, and a gospel tract. If I just like meekly hand you a little, here's my Jesus boiled down. Don't talk to me about him, and I like get out of there. I think it sets you up for failure more so than success.
Also, it makes me wonder, like, how much do you like love your God? Or you concerned, like, if you're just like, oh, I love him, but here, and then you run, because like the girl that gave me it, she just ran away. The snake that gave it to me, he slithered on down a couple of rows like by me, but neither one of them even sat there to watch me like read it and see like, what do you think?
And I think it might be a little much to ask somebody in a goodwill to say like, hey, sit down with me and actually minister to me. I get the idea that, like, if you see somebody and you have some information in your pocket and you want to give it to them, that's fine. I get it. But I don't think that should be your goal. Mm-hmm. If all you can do is give someone something, give someone a Gideon, like a full gospel. You know, give them enough meat to where they can chew on it at least. Like I think these gospel tracts, there's some effective ones, and I mean there are people that are close to us, I'm sure, that probably swear by these sort of tracts. And then I'm not trying to alienate these kind of people. I'm not trying to say that people who believe in these are stupid. It's more just a case of like, we really need to, if you want to be effective, and if we want to be as effective as we can, I think it requires some thought. You know, God, if we believe that God's created us for a purpose, if we believe that he wants us to do something, it should also follow that, you know, we ought to think about it. We ought to try to do it as best as we can. And a lot of times, I think, to boil it down, I agree with you. I think the tract, unless it's all you can do, unless you're like, that's absolutely the only thing you're able to do, is a little lazy. I don't think it's super effective.
Well, I think we've done a good job of delving into this.
Sure.
I guess we'll see, like, what do y'all think? You let us know in the comments, or shoot us a message, or boycott our channel.
Yeah, if you swear by a tract, let us know. Like, if you swear by a tract, tell me what that tract says. Mm-hmm. I want to know send me a version of it.
And now for someone like that, I would love to, if someone, like you said, has a counter, and they say, no, I think that, I've been in their shoes.
Yeah.
This is, like...
Yeah, tell us. We are open to debate. We are open to not only debate of like, oh, yeah, I don't believe your God exists or whatever. I'm open to that debate. I'm open to whatever you guys want to blow up in the comments. Blow it up. But in the meantime, please remember that you can like, comment, subscribe on this channel. If you really love what we do, you can actually go visit patreon.com/tankmedianetwork if you want to support us financially. As well, you can find several different things throughout the internet. Brandon reviews music on this channel with Brandander Reviews. I have a whole different channel where I play video games online at Tank Media Games, and we do all kinds of stuff with Tank Media, so come hang out with us. Brandon, is there anything else?
I think that's it.
Well, how do we feel about it?
We love you very much.